Hey guys, welcome back to Beautifully You. So, today I wanted to talk about fasting. It is something that is super important as a child of God. We do need to be doing that on a regular basis, just like we eat. It's a personal sacrifice and it's a demonstration to God, showing that your submission and your obedience to His will for your life. You're basically denying your personal desires and you're denying food, you're denying your flesh so that his word and his voice can be amplified in your life. So it is super important. So I have some scriptures just to back that up. Okay. So Isaiah 58, verse 6 through 7, I'm reading from the NIV version. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Verse 7. Is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe them, and not to turn away from your own flesh and blood. I also have Matthew 6:16 through 18. When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. I got another one. So Ezra 8:23. So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer. The last scripture, First Peter 5, verse 8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Now, that one necessarily is not talking about fasting, but it is talking about opening your mind up and always being alert to what God is saying. We are trying to kill our flesh, right? What do lions eat? Flesh, right? So if the enemy is roaring around like a lion, you want to make sure that you kill the flesh. One of the things that I've listened to Tiffany Montgomery, and she has said that you can't kill a dead man. And it's true, you can't. So as long as you continue to die to flesh, the enemy has no control over your life. And God's voice is amplified in your life. Okay? So, the structure of a fast, I don't think that many people understand how it works. When I was growing up, it was typically don't eat dinner, pray, and there you go. It's so much more to that. So, when you are fasting, you want to first have a journal. Journals are super important. I reference journals all the time. So when you have a journal, you want to write down the reason that you are fasting. Then after you write down the reason, you want to have the supporting scriptures to back that up. The reason you're fasting should not contradict the word. Okay? So have those supporting scriptures to back that up. What I personally have also done is I have wrote down like keywords or certain topics that I wanted to say while fasting or what I wanted to pray on. Because after you do your reasoning, after you do your scriptures, you want to write down the prayer. What question do you have for God? Why are you praying? So I typically would write what my question is. Father, what am I to do in this season? Father, why is this going on? Father, what is my next? Whatever that looks like. And so I may write down keywords to support that in relation to my question. Okay. So then after you do that, you want to also do two-way journaling. Two-way journaling is simply writing down your question and then what do you think God's response is to that question? Father, what is my next season? And you may write down, well, daughter, I believe that your next season is for you to start serving at your church, or maybe I want you to lead at church. Really write down what you think that God may be saying to you, okay? And then after that, after your fast is over, then you want to write down what God's actual response was to your fast. Sometimes He may answer, sometimes He may not. But nonetheless, you want to write that down if He does answer. If you keep a journal, this is really good for our faith. It builds up our faith, it builds up our muscle. It helps us to um, navigate those difficult times when we are struggling and when we are going through. And you open up that journal. Oh, look, God answered this prayer during this fast. Or, oh, look, I felt this during this fast. Or, oh, look, I was baptized in tongues during this fast. Or, I was elevated in a higher realm in God. So, doing these type of things are super important when it comes to fasting. You always want to reference it. Okay. So, personally, what fasting really has done for me, I'm actually on a 21-day liquid fast right now. I believe I'm on day 15. And I'm like super proud of myself. And so, with the fasting, I really sent up some prayers and petitions to God in regards to my season, because right now I'm in a season of obscurity. God is developing me for my next, and He actually is relocating me. And so, I don't fully know what it looks like when I'm relocated. And God hasn't really shown me that yet. And I'm okay with that. But God has really been challenging me in my faith and in my trust in Him and really building that up. Because Yolanda was really a hustler. I used to always call myself a hustler. Like, I'm going to make sure, I'm on my grind. I'm going to get my money. I'm about this. I'm about that. And God was like, well, where am I in the picture? You're pretty much the God over your life. Where am I? And that really stuck with me. He showed me that I needed to work through control. I had big control issues. And, when we talk about surrender, the question is, do we fully surrender everything to God? Do we give every area of our life to God? Our money, our finances, our jobs, our relationships, every single thing. And I realized for me personally, I gave everything to Him except my finances. I didn't fully trust God with that. And, sometimes I felt like God didn't really have my back. And so He really was exposing these things to me through fasting. And it has really amplified in my life. And I've also learned to give God the first fruits of my day. I would do devotionals sometimes, but I really would not give God my first fruits. I just wouldn't. And so God really dealt with me on that. Am I the one that is waking you up in the morning? Am I the one that placed you on this earth? Am I the one that put purpose in you? So why would you not seek me first to know how you should go through your day? Seek me and find me. And the word talks about it. And so, I thought that was something that I really needed to work on. And so through my fasting, I have been doing that. And it is laying the foundation. It is like concrete now. All of it is concrete. And so I'm like super excited about what God is doing and where He is taking me through this fasting. And so actually a couple of years ago, I actually wrote a fasting book, and I'm actually going to put it in my bio. It's called Intentional Fasting for Women, and it's a deep dive into postured fasting. And in this book, it talks about why you're fasting. It talks about different types of prayers that you could do in your fasting to God, what type you want to. It also talks about, again, how to fast, and it gives you a fasting example as well. And so I would definitely encourage you to purchase this book. It's under $12. It's not expensive. And I think this will take you far. I use this book for my fasting as well. I write in it quite often. You can see the highlights. You can see all the things that I'm doing, what I'm fasting on. And so I would encourage you to do that as well. So if you really want God's voice amplified in your life, if you really want to hear Him, if you really want to grow, if you really want to get to that secret place with God, one of my desires is to be a friend of God. I typically would say to God, I want my ear to your heart. I want to hear what your heart is beating. I want us to be in sync. I just want, just like you would with your girlfriends or your guys or your boys or whatever, you just want to make sure that you are treating God the same, if not better. And so you want to be a friend of God. In the word it talks about how Abraham was a friend of God. I want to be like that. He's the same God that He was back then that He is now. And so you want to make sure that you are amplifying his voice in your life. God is always speaking. The question is, are we always listening? And so fasting will help with that. So I definitely encourage you guys to do that. And this will help you to grow in your walk with him, grow in your purpose, and grow into your next season, whatever that may be, okay? All right. Well, I will chat with you guys later. Stay beautifully you, okay?